Hello, everyone. Happy to see you all. And you don't know how happy I am when I see you here smiling. Yeah. We are here to learn photography. We are here to practice it. That's all. And these contact sheets actually are some motivation for you to practice and to get that what are your problems, what are the difficulties, we can solve them. So it's okay, no worries, just practice more and more. So the most important things that I find in your contact sheets, the most problem was with low light photography and night photography. Remember something. Okay, we know that it's a low light situation and it's dark situation, but the things that we are going to do, we want to have a bright picture, no matter how dark is outside, how dark is the room, how dark is the scene. So our eyes cannot see because it's dark. Just remember, this is our eyes, this is the limitation of our eyes, that we cannot see it very good. How about the camera? Or how about something else, like an owl, night owl, or a cat? You know, a cat can see during the night the way that we see during the day. Yeah, because it has a very big iris in its eyes, the cat eyes, so they can see actually the way that we see during the day, they can see during the night. So I want you to remember that no matter how dark it is, you should have a bright photo. For example, you can go outside in the dark, in the wood, there is no lights, just the sky and some stars or some other dim, very low light, but with 30 seconds of photography or 20 seconds of photography, you can have very bright and beautiful photos. This is important. And when you have this situation, I mean, slow shutter speed. So this is very important to stabilize your camera. We need a tripod, we need something to stable our camera. We do not want shaking or movement because it affects our photo. So remember again, low light photography, it doesn't mean that the photo could be dark. No, it should be bright. And when we have low light situation, it's much recommended to use a tripod. So that was all I got from your contact sheet. Any other question?
I actually had a quick question about the tripod. What was the brand that you were recommending on Tuesday?
Oh yeah, it's Manfrotto. It's Italian brand. This is very famous among photographers, and it has a variety of tripod and variety of different range of prices. I can I can show the website right now. So yeah, this is the brand Manfrotto. So I'm not sure about the pronunciation. Yeah, and this is the tripod. So the product, you can go for tripod with head, so mini, monopod, different things. And also you see you have bags and other things. So these are all nice because they have their, I think the one I have is something, yeah, it's something like this one. Yeah, it's something like this one. So yeah, they are a little bit expensive, but they're all also some cheaper, I think. But this is the one that you will buy it for all of your life. But remember, it is very good if you have a tripod with the head that has 3 axes. Yeah, you know what I mean? Let me go to the heads. Yeah, tripod heads. Just when you are choosing, yeah, something like this. It has 3 axes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because for example, these heads are just with one, and we call they called it ball head. So I'm not recommending ball head, but some of the photographers and some of the instructor teachers prefer this one. So I have my own reason and say no, not this one, but any of them that have to like this one, this one.
Well, and that's just to get like better like angles and such.
Very good with panning. It's very good with panorama photography. It's very good for different reason.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question?
So just to make sure, the tripod needs to have more heads, right? Like instead of just a single one, you said? From
No,
that
you know,
front?
you can have the tripod that it has its own head,
Mhm.
okay? But some of the tripods, yeah, actually most of the good brands of tripod, their heads here is uh, interchangeable. You can change it. So
Oh,
when
okay.
you are choosing your tripod, just think about what the head it has. Just think about it. There is no need to buy a tripod separately and a head separately. You can choose a tripod with a head, but just think about the head that you're choosing.
Okay.
And there are lots of good tripod that are really cheaper and they works for you. But in the case of the good one, the one that you want to have for all of your life, and whenever you want, you can sell it again on Kijiji or everywhere because it is something really good. So yeah, that brand, I really recommend that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Here I am. And let's start. Okay, look at this photo, the one that you are seeing the cover of this session. As you see, everything is bright. We can see a sky, we can see contrast in the sky, we can see clouds, and we can see dark area on the hill and on also light area. So this is a very good photo in the case of, in the matter of lighting. But is it possible to see like, to take a photo like this, or what is special about this photo? You know something, this is not a photo that we can get with our camera usually in the normal situation. When we want to take a photograph of some situation like this, it could be either the right one or the left one. You practice this. You know, your contact sheet was focusing on different light situations. So you already knew that if, for example, you focus on some dark area, that could be the all, you know, light area, bright area could be too much bright, like the right one. Or if you focus on the area that is bright, then it changed to gray, and all other things, shadows, turn to black. So it could be either right or left. But when we are there and we are walking, we can see the middle one. This is what our eyes see. But our camera usually cannot see the same that we are looking at the same. So you already had some experience like this. I remember, I think, I want to see if I can, if the person is here. Let me just check. I want to see if the person is here. I want to just focus on these two photos. You see, he had the same experience. He wanted to take a photo of the sky, then all the things turned to black. And if she wanted to take a photo and focus, or uh, she did actually her lighting, her lighting meter on the building, so the sky is too bright and they are gray. So, you know, the photo is either this one or that one. But I'm pretty sure the things that she was looking at was really different. She could see both of them with her eyes. We could have the sky and we could have also the dark area or gray area or what we call shadow area. So yeah, most of you had the same experience. I just checked your contact sheets and some of you had, and I wanted to show one of them that I did. So let's continue to say what happened actually there and what should we do. So the right one or the left one, it's what cameras see usually, but the middle one, it's what we are seeing. We called it HDR photography. HDR actually stand for high dynamic range. First of all, we should know that what is dynamic range? Dynamic range means how our eyes or our camera or our TV or anything that is showing or seeing, okay, most of them even showing. So, you know, for example, our monitor also has a kind of dynamic range. So how they can cover the light area and the dark area. So how can we see through the dark area? Again, I want to come back to myself to just tell it exactly what I mean. So you're looking at me here. So there are different area in my face. As I see this part, because I'm sitting in front of the window, so these parts, there are not much detail for you. Am I right? So there are two brights here. Yeah, here and here and here. There are two brights and you cannot see much of the details. So they are the overexposed area because of the camera, because of this one. So the camera cannot cover all the details. But if you're standing in front of me, you can see all of my face detail. It could be even some other person. For example, I want to talk about Anisha. So I pin Anisha to talk about her hair. So if you look at Anisha, so if you look at her, we cannot see details in her hair and also on the curtain back of her. We can see just, so there are some dark things. There are not different colors of black. I mean different range of black. They're just black. And the curtain is the same. So I want to say that these are the limitation that our cameras have, but our eyes don't have this kind of limitation. Actually, they have some kind of limitation, but because we are the base, we always measure everything according to ourselves, then the camera cannot be like us. Let's back and talk about it. So dynamic range means how we can cover, how we can see this dark area and light area all together. Sometimes we can see, for example, if we go through stops, do you remember stops? They say one stop, two stops, three stops. These are the stops in photography. I read somewhere, I'm not sure about it. Okay, this is something scientific. I'm not sure about it, but I read something that human eyes, because it has the iris that could be narrow and could be wide, with this situation, we can see 26 or something like that, more than 20 stops in a scene. That's really incredible. That's really incredible. You know what I mean? You know, when we are, for example, if I was standing or any of you were standing in front of Anisha, you could see all different hair in the whole head, because we can see the different color of the black, different different grades of the black actually. But when we are looking from the camera, we cannot see. Or if you are looking, for example, this, can you see, for example, this table? Yeah, I think you can see just it's black, but there are different black here. Our eyes can see, but the camera cannot see. Let's read it. Once your subject exceeds the camera's dynamic range, the highlights tend to wash out to white, like you see here. See? And the dark simply become big black blobs. It's difficult to take a photo that captures both ends of this spectrum. But with modern shooting techniques that we called it HDR and advanced post-processing software, photographers have devised ways to make it happen. Basically, an HDR photo is just 2 or 3 or more, whatever you want, photos taken at different exposure level. Okay, we had, do you remember the previous session that we were trying to put the indicator in the middle of the lighting meter? So now we can put it one stop forward, two stop forward, one stop less, and two stop less. Then we have 5 photos, okay? One middle, 2 higher, and 2 lower. Then we have 5 different level of exposure from a scene. Then we merge them together, so we have HDR photography. This is fantastic. I'm pretty sure you're gonna love it. Look at this one. That was actually the first prize of a competition. What was, I think that was Sony competition or something. So I don't remember. The camera is the 700 and f25. So as you can see, it's 11 exposures. It means the photographer took 11 photos of this scene. Each photos has just 2/3 of stops different from the other one. Okay, 2/3, not 1 stop, not 1/3 of a stop, 2/3 of a stop, means that 2 times from the dial. Okay, 2 times from the dial. Processed in the Photometrics Pro, so the software is Photometrics, and you can see here. And after that, also color adjustment in Lightroom 5. As you see, he or she, I don't know the name, where is it? Steve, okay. I think, as you see, he used 2 softwares, okay, Photometrics and Lightroom. Yeah, this is something normal that some photographers to use 2 softwares. But today, it's up to you. You can use different software, and you already have a file in your D2L to know how to make HDR with Photoshop and Lightroom. But today, I will talk about Lightroom and show it to you how to make HDR photograph with Lightroom. But you can go through any kind of software, any software that you want. It's up to you. As you see here, we have all dark and light area in woods, and we have our on dark and light area in mountains and in the building, actually the church, on the grass, everywhere. So this is very good photographs. But we cannot see what are with our, we cannot take a photograph with just 1 photo. Actually, something else. Yeah, okay, here. Nowadays, most of the cameras can take great HDR photos by themselves. So this is something automatic in your cameras, or even in your mobile phone. If you check your mobile phone, you can find HDR. So just HDR. It means high dynamic range photo. Nowadays, this is so popular because of social media, because of Instagram, because there are lots of people who love this kind of photographs. And also, this is the way that our eyes usually see. So most of the companies put this option in their cameras. But don't worry if your camera doesn't have this. For example, I know lots of Canon doesn't have this option, but most of Nikon, they have this option. So if you have, most of the Nikon, or they have. So if you have a kind of camera that do not support these things, it's okay, because we don't want you to go to HDR, automatic HDR at all. I want you to do HDR by manually. Just remember that you can do it manually. So what the whole idea is that we just have 2 or 3 different exposure from the same scene. Now I want you to just check your camera and tell me that if you can find HDR menu in your camera. And I also contact the Nikon. I think the Nikon that I have also has this option, and I will show it to you. For just check it for 2 or 5 minutes and tell me that if you have this option or if you don't.
I think I do, but I cannot open it because it says off. So it's turned off, obviously, and I'm not really sure how to turn it on.
Just put your camera on manual. How about the others? Anyone?
I found it by going into scenes. So switching the mode at the top, and then it goes into HDR backlight control.
So you have it?
I think so, yes.
Good.
Yeah, so I have it. Is it on for series or on for a single photo?
Oh yeah, so if you turn it on for single photo, it means that the next photo will be HDR. If you turn it on series of photos, so all of the next photos will be HDR. You can change it. Got it?
So which one should I be on? Series?
You can do either. It depends on you. You want to do just one or you want to do different.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we assume that no one has this option for now. If you have this option, you can do it by your camera. But suppose that no one has this option. What we are gonna do is just take a photograph, take 3 or more photographs of a scene with different exposure. So this is what I wanna do right now. So you are seeing my desktop right now. Okay, good. So you are seeing here that I have M and ISO is 100. And when I check my meter, it's a little bit, you see, it's a little bit over. So I put it just on this one. Now it's in the middle, you see? Now my light meter is in the middle. So I can take a photo of this one, just one photo, okay? Then I will go and take one stop or 2 stops or 1/3 of it. It depends of the situation, okay? It depends on how the contrast is. Do you remember the photo that I show you? The person is Steve, actually, the photographer mentioned that it went by 2/3 of the stop. It means that something like this, 1, 2. So 2 darker, but I will go by 1 stop to 1 stop. So now we are -1 again. Then I double it because I know if I go 100, it will be doubled. And now it's -2, -2. And again, 400, it's -3. Then I start again here with plus. Yeah, +1. +2. And a little bit more, +3. Just remember the things that I did is just one stop to another stop. So I have 3 here, 3 there, and 1 in the middle. I have 7 photos for now. 7 photos for the same scene. Nothing changed. I put my camera on tripod. You see here, it's on a tripod. Nothing changed, nothing moved. This is very important that this, because we are going to merge this photo together, all the photos should be on the same thing. And one important thing, I didn't change ISO and I didn't change f number aperture. Why? Because I do not want to change the depth of field. Whatever we see in the first photo, it could be whatever we see in the last photo. Because if we change the f number, the different depth of field we have in this photo, so it's not gonna work. We should just work on shutter speed. So there are lots of photographers that actually say, if you want to take an HDR photo, just go through TV or shutter speed priority, TV or S. Let's see what happened here. So you're seeing here, right panel, there are the information. So here we have, see, all of them are F4, 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 and ISO 100. and 24 millimeter. Nothing changed, just shutter speed, exposure time. Look at the exposure time. Just the exposure time change. Now we are going to use it to make it. So because Photoshop it's on, first of all, I will do it on Photoshop for you to see it. So I have my photos here. I will go to Photoshop. You have this as a file, okay? Don't worry if you didn't learn it right now because you have it as a file. I will go to File, Automate, Merge to HDR Pro. Then I click, then Browse, and go to my photos, select them, okay. Pick this one, attempt to automatically align source image. If they are not aligned a little bit, okay, not too much. Usually Photoshop try to see, attempt, just trying. There is no guarantee. Then press OK. So Photoshop starts just merging them, bring the photos one by one. You see here, one by one, and merging all together and making HDR. Let's see what happened. Actually, this is not a good scene for HDR. Just remember the things that I am doing right now, it's because of limitation in the class. I cannot take my computer and get out and show you how can I do that. So the things that you are seeing here, it's because of the situation here. I have just this thing. So we will do all the things the same. It doesn't mean that your assignment or something or a contact sheet should be something like this. No. So here is the HDR that actually Photoshop is showing to us. There are some presets here. We can change them. For example, high contrast, things are changing, or surrealistic high contrast, something like that, that it's really bad for this photo, or photorealistic, or anything else. Or we can work with this one and change all the things that we can do and see whatever happens. But the other things that we can do is just we could leave it here, do not touch anything, and we press OK and save the PSD file, then go to Lightroom or to the Photoshop and work on it again. So we can put it just here and work on it here. You can just, because it is very good photo now, it has depth enough in any pixel, we can work on it. You know what I mean? If you know anything about Photoshop, you can do it. If you don't know, don't worry. I will go and do it again right now in Lightroom, okay? I do not save this one, and this is not a good photo for doing this. I will open Lightroom. Then I will bring the photo that is much better for this work. Maybe here, some JPEG. Yeah, some JPEG. I want that. So these are 1, 2, 6, again, 7 photos that I have here. It's much better if I bring the raw photos. Okay. Usually in Lightroom, you should work with raw photos. Here, I have the raw one. But I do not want now to do raw photos because it's time consuming for our class. So I remember, just imagine that I am bringing the raw photos. Just imagine. It should be on library. Then, so just imagine that I'm bringing raw photos here. We will talk about raw photos today. Don't worry. So, where are them? Actually, they should be ticked. I don't know. No, when there are RAW and JPEG, Lightroom just prefer RAW. So let's bring RAW. I don't want to disappoint Lightroom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So I have 7 photos here, and I will import them in Lightroom. So here is really easy, easier than anywhere else. I just clicked on the first and last one. I shift or control or shift to get all of them. So now all of them are highlighted. Remember, all of them should be highlighted. It should be here 7. It should be written here 7 selected. Okay, it means that I already selected 1. If 1 or 2, it is written here 1 selected. See, 2 selected. So it should be all of your photos here. I have 7 photos selected right now. It's written here. And I right click on one of them. It doesn't matter. And I will go to photo merge and HDR. That's really easy. Then just wait. These ticks should be there, and they are. So just waiting to see what happened here.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Should we use raw files while doing this HDR?
I didn't understand what your
Should
voice
we
was
use
not very good.
should we use raw files?
No, not always, not always. But it's better. It's recommended. You know, because they have much more information or data in each of the photos. Raw photos are better and recommended. Today, we are gonna talk about raw photography, and you are gonna practice raw photography for the HDR. But not, I do not say that all the time in your life you should go for making HDR in raw photography. It's up to you. Did you get?
Yes. Thank you.
Good. You're welcome. So it's up to you. If you want to do JPEG, it's okay. It depends on the things that you want to capture and you want to, you know, share with. What do you want? You want to have a very high quality photo, so RAW is much better and it's much appreciated and recommended. But if you're just doing something to do something, you can go for JPEG. And these days, people are making HDR with their mobile phone. So it's not a big deal. Merge, then I press on merge and just wait till things happen. So all the things here actually are automatic in software. The things that we did just happened in the camera. In the camera, I took 7 photos with 7 different exposure. That is the things that we did. So just remember, that is really important thing. It's creating, you see here, the bar. Yeah, it's really, sometimes it's really time consuming. It depends on the photos and the quality and the number of photos. So there are 7 high quality numbers and with actually high-end camera, and yeah.
So then, would you recommend for taking HDR pictures to just adjust the shutter rather than the f-stop and the ISO?
Sure, it should be like that. It should be like that. You should just think about changing shutter speed, not other things. Because, you know, when you are changing, for example, F number, actually you are changing depth of field in each photos. If you are changing ISO, actually you are changing the quality of each photo. So you should just go for shutter priority, shutter speed. You should change shutter speed. The same thing that happened there, all the photos should be the same. Nothing there is more important. You know why? You know what? The only things that happen there, if you have some places that are moving, they are, I don't know, some movement in your scene, so it affects that one, just the moving. If you have some I don't know, maybe people, it's not a good idea, but there is no other option. So yeah, this is the photo that we got here. This one, you see, yeah, this one, it's not bad, it's okay. I'm happy with this one. You see, it's something that we can see through our eyes, but it could be better. Why not? I shift from library to develop. You see here, tab, I will go to develop, and I have this photo. Now I can change everything here. You see, I can bring shadows more. I can put some black. I can bring exposure a little down, like this one. Yeah, the highlights and clarity, vibrance. You know, vibrance is the one that adds colors. You know, from low colors to high colors. See, the colors are more now. So I can put a little vibrance and all other things. So we are going to talk about these things later. But you see, this is a very good photos and very good exposure. We have everything that we want. So what you know why I prefer to work HDR in Lightroom? Because you have more option here. It doesn't mean that you don't have this option in Photoshop. So you also have this option in Photoshop. But here, they are more handy. They're just right by yourself. You know, you just shift from library to develop. You have all the bars here. You can change it, and it's okay. That's all. So you have the photos. Now, you want to just export a photo. I think it is also in the file. Let me see if it's in the file. That I think it's in the file. Yeah, creating HDR. Exporting. After that, yeah. So here, this is. Yeah, you have exporting here. Okay. So again, I will tell you how to export. Just right click, export, export. Then you should choose where you want, for example, desktop and nothing else. Okay, do not touch anything else. Just find your place, or maybe image size. Check if it is okay. Yeah, it's okay. Export. Now we have our photo there. It's actually exporting. See, the file is exporting. So I want to say that the things that is really matter here is how to just take the photo, different exposure, the things that you practiced already. The same scene, different exposure, one middle and one lower and one higher, or more than that, that's 5. So one middle, 2 lower and 2 higher, or 7, or anything that you want. Okay, but at least it should be 3 photos. So we have an option in our camera that it is called automatic exposure bracketing. It means that your camera, there is no need to touch 5 times for 5 different exposure, or 3 times for 3 different exposure. You just touch the shutter button 1 time and the camera do the rest, because you already programmed the camera and you told the camera, hey, I want 7 photo, I want 5 photo with different exposure. Every photo has a kind of, for example, 1 stop or 2/3 of a stop difference. That's all. So this is the easiest way that you can have this kind. We call it bracketing. So by selecting automatic exposure bracketing, the camera will take 1 or more shots on either side of your chosen light metering, or more overexposed, or 1 or more underexposed. So we called it overexposed, underexposed. Just remember, when we have something over than normal, we call it overexposed. When we have something under than normal, we call it underexposed. Okay, you see here, This is the quick menu of Canon. Most of you have something like this, and some of you have Nikon. I will talk about it. So yeah, so I could go by pressing Q here in quick menu. If you see, it is written down there, exposure compensation / AEB setting. So I press Q and go to this one. Now it could automatically shoot 3 shots with different exposure. So this is the limitation of this camera. Okay, there are some other camera can have to 5 or 7 or 9 even. Then I press Q here, and the main, if you change the main dial, it at 2 other brackets, 2 other indicator appears. You see, 1, 2, and I can just say that, for example, this is the differences of the photos. I should say or define it 1/3 of stop, 2/3 of stops, or 1 stop, or even more. So these are the differences. 3 photo with differences. So I press set, and now it's okay. So if I put my camera on 2 seconds delay for taking a photo, so again, I go to quick menu and I come here for single shooting and putting on 2 seconds. Then if I take a photo, I want to see, you are not seeing what I'm seeing here. Okay, maybe now. Okay, so you see there, I can have 3 photos. If I just press the button, the camera will take 3 photos. That's all. See? Did you hear? That was 3 shots. And the thing is that I put on 2 seconds delay. This is very important, 2 seconds delay. So let's go to Nikon and see what happened in Nikon. So for Nikon, if you go through your eye or information, you will find BKT, that is bracketing. Most of the, you see, BKT, this means bracketing in Nikon. So if you put that bracketing, then you could have a kind of different, if you see here, I don't know, oh, it's a little dark here. Yeah, you see 1 off, so it's off. I can turn it on, and here I can turn it on. This is now 3 photos, 5 photos, 7 photos, 9 photos. So this camera could have 9 photos, okay? 9 photos, and I can choose here with the front dial, 1 stop, 7, actually 0.7 of stops, 0.3 of a stop. Yeah, so these are the differences, 2 or 3 stops even. So I could have 3 stops differences between each photo, and I could have till 9 photos. Yeah, so a big range, really a wide range. So when I put it on it again, I will change it to delay for 2 seconds or 5 seconds. And after that, I just press the button. So all the photographs go just 1 by 1. So now I want you to practice this and try to find it.
My camera, it's the Nikon D5300. So I see where it says like the BKT, but then how do I set it for 2 second delay?
If you have this sign, let me show you on your camera.
Here?
Yeah, this one.
Oh, I see it. Okay, cool. Perfect.
Okay, let's continue and go to white balance. So I briefly talk about white balance because these days white balance, it's not that much important, and also you can read through internet, and I will provide you some links on the contact sheet 5 that you can go through white balance and read it. So just briefly about white balance. What is white balance? If you're looking at this photo, you can see the right one is a little blue and the left one is a little yellow maybe. So these photos are the same, but the color is different. So when we call it white balance, means that the white be completely white. So there is no tone that it's over all the other tones. When the white is white, it means that the yellow is yellow, the red is red, and all the things are the way that we see it. So it also refers to color temperature. Color temperature is something that we use in physics and in science about the light color. Okay, this is really different from the temperature of our body or the weather. So this is really different. It's about color temperature. So it's all about the black body radiator. So if you remember, if you see, for example, horseshoe in some movie, maybe in some, I don't know, in some places, maybe you can find something like that in Heritage Park. So if you see horseshoe when they are trying to, give it too much energy, too much put it on fire, so it turned from red then to yellow, and then it could be white. So I want to say that something like horseshoe, when it gets the energy, it gets some hot things, start to radiating the light. So that light could be measured by the amount of energy that they received. So from fire or something. So we called it color temperature. So there is no refers to the body or body and the weather temperature. For example, look at the sky. The sky is blue. So it means that the blue sky has a color temperature. Or for example, when we are going to IKEA, we can buy different color temperature lamp. They are a kind of yellow or they are a little blue. So they are color temperature. We are talking about color, that's all. So it not means that when we are using blue color, it's hot. And when we are using, for example, we are sitting on the yellow lamp, it's warm. No, okay? So our eyes, human eyes, adjust the color temperature. What does it mean? It means that when we are walking from a fire and going to, for example, under a kind of tungsten light, or we go to fluorescent room, we do not mix these things. I mean that we could see that the white wall still is the white, but the camera cannot. If you look at this old photo, this from this boy, this is the old photo that took with a flashlight in the old days on the film photography. So the film photography, they put something, the color temperature, on the factory. So you could buy a color film suitable for daylight. Then you could buy a color film suitable for tungsten light. You could buy a color film suitable for flashlight. So if you take a photograph with a color film suitable for daylight using the flash, your photo will be yellow. Sorry, will be blue. And if you go back to your old album, family album, your grandparents or your parents, maybe you can see some blue photos, or maybe yellow photos. Yeah, this is the problem there. But in digital photography, it's really easy because we can adjust it during photography or after photography in the camera or in some software. That's all. It's easy. You already have some preset. Okay, ask.
A question about that last slide.
Okay.
Why are you associating the black body temperature of things that aren't actually that temperature and also aren't black bodies with their color?
Because they are measured by the black body.
Like,
I mean,
those
yeah.
things, like the sky and the moon, aren't actually that temperature, and they aren't that color because of their
No,
black
they
body.
do not have that temperature. So it's the color temperature. We measure this color temperature in the laboratory. So we put the black body and we hit it, or we give it energy, and in some, you know, some measurement of the temperature, it's radiates some color. So then they write it. For example, they start the black body and put it on hit, and when it's reached the 1700 temperature, so it turns to red. Then when it reached 2800, it's turned to orange. When it reaches 3200, then it's yellow. So they write it down and say, okay, the color temperature of yellow is 3200 temperature. That's all. Did you get the point?
Yeah, I know how that works. I'm just wondering why this chart is associating the color with the temperature, even though it isn't the actual temperature. It just seems like a weird thing to be doing.
Because it comes from the temperature. You know, this is the scientific term for color. So, you know, let me explain it somehow else. So when I say blue, then you have a blue in your name, in your mind. Somebody else, for example, Ilhan has another blue. Nail has another blue. Jimena has another blue in his mind. Then I said, no, just think about dark blue. Then again, you have also another things that they are different. But when I say just think about 6500 color temperature, so you should know exactly what I mean. But you are human, so you don't know. But the computer and the scientists, they just go through the numbers, not through just navy blue color or dark blue or other things. So they need numbers. Gotcha?
Okay, it just seems like a weird way of doing it, but sure.
Yeah, okay, let's accept it for now. Let's accept
I think it's just because like I'm in physics, so like I've gone through
so
this
you know
stuff
all the
before with
things.
black
So you
bodies,
know
and it's just weird to do it this way.
Yeah, you are in physics, so you know all the color temperature on other things. So you should explain us, not me, right? Okay, here, the white balance. Okay, you have white balance in your camera, a kind of preset on your camera. You can find the WB, it's a short term for white balance, in your quick menu or then back of your camera. Then you can change it to the different preset. Each preset actually put a filter, a color filter on your photograph to change it digitally different. You can, for now, you can change, for example, in the same scene in your room, you can change from auto to daylight, shade, cloudy, flash, fluorescent, tungsten, and just see what happened. You see the different colors just came out from your camera. You see here are the different colors and different temperatures and different names. These are color temperature. Usually, most of the time, auto white balance means AWB works. I myself always take photograph on auto white balance. Just in a studio, when I'm using flash, I change it to flash. And when I'm using raw photography, so that's all. There is no need to care about it, because the camera is digitally fixing the problem. When you're taking raw photographs, you can do it by yourself and in the best way. And better than camera, when you are using the gray card that we were talking about it. Yeah, we call it custom white balance. When you want to have a very good and precise white balance. For example, when you are making a catalog, a photography catalog for example, a company who is producing nail polish because they have different colors, or hairdo because they are different. So you should be exact and precise. There is no way that, for example, you turn it a little red or either white by your eyes or by just by your preferences. No, it should be exactly according to things that the company is producing. So it's very important that time that you should have a precise white balance. For that time, it's very good if you use a gray card. Gray card is a standard thing that we talked about it the previous time. So there is no other color cast on the gray card. So we can have the gray card in a photo, if we can fix it on our camera, or we can have for post-production, like this one, the right one. Actually, that person has two photos. You see, two photos. The first one is with the gray card and the second one without the gray card. But it's gonna fix all of them through Lightroom. Or we can put it on our camera. You can do it on custom. You know, you should take a close-up photo and just change it to custom and find a preset, find a preference photo for yours and just put it on custom white balance. I don't want to talk about it too much because it's not very important these days, but if you are interested, just Google it and find it on YouTube how to, for example, you have a Canon Rebel, for example, 5D, okay? Just search it and say that Canon Rebel 5D custom white balance. Probably you can find it on YouTube to how to change it. So go for it for yourself. Or if you have a Nikon camera, also you can search it. Just, you know, also you can find these things here. Anyway, for now, I want you to just try to find a white balance button in your camera and change it from different presets, different from auto white balance to shade to sunny, and try it. Then I will talk about how to adjust white balance in Lightroom and talking about raw photography. Okay, everyone, let's continue. Did you find any ambiguity, any difficulty? Just try it, you see difference. Let me share what because I did exactly the same. I did exactly the same. And now, so these are the things that you see. Now I have two photos for each frame. I mean that two files for each photos. It's better to say two files for each photo. I want to group them by type. And you see I have CR2, which is raw, and I have JPEG. I want to show it to you that these are different color. You see? So it's a little red. It's a little, actually, because I was not looking through the camera, the focus is here, and that's not focused, but it's okay because we're talking about the, yeah, it's a little yellow, and it's yellow, it's blue. So these are the different colors. See, that one is blue and that one is yellow. But what is really the one? So I have a gray card there. I can have the gray card as a source. Then it adjusts it. Okay, let's bring them to Lightroom to see what happened. I will open my Lightroom.
And sorry, just to confirm for this, you took the same photo, but you just adjusted the auto white balance for each one of them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The different settings?
Yeah, that are actually different photos, but I didn't change the frame. I didn't change anything, just change the white balance setting, preset. Yeah. I can drag them, okay? I can get all of them or one of them and drag it here to library. I will leave it. They will appear here, all of them. Then I can check all or check one by one, each I want. Then I will import them. So now I have these photos here. I can do it right now, but I prefer to go to develop. I will go to develop. So please listen, it's important here. Now we have here a source. This is our gray card. And you see here a white balance selector. I just select here, see, I click it here, and actually the computer understands that is the source, and everything will be fixed. You see, this is the real things that we should see. Again, in another photo, I can fix it. So these are that, they are a little yellow. Again, fix it. And this one. So you see now, these photos are now the same because of the gray card. Because of the gray card, it should be fixed all the time. So what is the point? The point is that you can always have a gray card in your setting, but it doesn't mean that everywhere you want you put your gray card. No, when something is really important, you can use a gray card. So what is the strategy? For example, I want to have a photograph of these two pillows, and I take a photograph with a gray card. That's all. Then I copy the information. Okay, here, see, copy here. But you can also right click and here copy the settings. So here or this copy makes no difference. I copy the settings, I check none, and I go just for white balance. Okay, then I will paste it here to the target photo. So I have now a very good and real photograph according to color. Real photograph of these two pillows. And this is the point that you can always fix it, but this is the best way. Even though that you do not have the gray card, sometimes you can work with it. You can do something if you want. Let me find a portrait. For example, we have a photo here and we do not have gray card, but I can see that what is really white here, maybe her teeth or the background. So I can check it. So the background works because it was really something, you know, that was white enough. That was something that it's actually here is a gray. It's not white. It's a gray, but some part of a bright gray. So I check it and now it's fixed. See? Or the other one, for example, it's a little blue. I just check it here, you see, and it's fixed. So it's much better if you have the gray card. But if you don't have the gray card, the white balance selector still works in Lightroom, in Photoshop, both of them. So when you have raw photograph, you can do many things to your photographs. You can control it and other things. So yeah, adjusting the white balance in software actually means that using raw photos and using a gray card, a standard gray card. But if you don't have a gray card, a standard, and you want to have a very good, even a white paper could be useful, but it's not precise, but it could be useful. So you see here, for example, the photographer take a photograph of a girl with a gray card, then he or she will fix all of these photos just with copy and paste. Now I want to talk about raw photography. So why we are all talking about raw and not JPEG, and why we are saying that these are too much important, you know, because in raw photography, you have, you know, it's like you have a raw meat. You have something that the camera didn't do anything on it. When you have a JPEG photograph, camera already did something for white balance, for, I don't know, for maybe for noise reduction, for many things. So if you compare a raw photo and a JPEG photo, at the first glance, JPEG is much better. You know why? Because the JPEG is already edited. It's already retouched in the camera. They usually bring 10% black down. They also bring a little contrast. They also reduce a little of noise. They bring some they put the photo, they changed the photo a little sharper. So they did a lot of things. But when it is raw, it's everything is up to you, and you can sharpen, you can blur it, you can do anything. I'm gonna talk about it right now. I'm gonna to work on it. So this is why we are talking about raw. Raw photo is something that is just for you, and you can do it any way that you want. Nowadays, some of the mobile phones also, they have the ability of raw photos. If you check the raw photos in your mobile phone and JPEG photos, I am pretty sure that your JPEGs are much better. But raw photos have the option, you can work on it. Okay, now we have this photo and I want to talk about it. So if you look at this, actually it's a very high quality photo and there is not much noise because it's a very good camera. But I can show you how we can work on it. First of all, you can change the exposure. Or first of all, let's talk about white balance. So I can change the white balance here. See something change. And I have exposure here. I can bring the photo, change the photo brighter or darker, anything that I want. I can change the contrast. You see? I can change the highlight. I can change the shadows. You see, now we can see too much detail in her hair. White, black, and clarity. Look at clarity. So look at just the skin. See, now we can see all of the, see, so this is the clarity that changed the texture. Vibrance, changing the color, and saturation. So here we have all of these things. So I should reset here because I don't want these things to go. So I press Alt and here you see tone, change to reset tone. Reset, reset, because it was okay. And I don't want to do all these things. Maybe a little bit shadows and a little bit highlight. So black, white, contrast, clarity, just maybe, yeah, lower, not higher, and 21%, 21 for vibrance. Then I will go to sharpen. Okay, I wanted to sharp it. Look at here. You see how sharp it is right now? I can, you know, it's really sharp now. So that was first, and now it's sharp. You see all the details here? So you can do many of these things in your Lightroom. And also, if it has noise, you can have reduce the noise. Usually we do all these things together. You see, so you have all these options in your Lightroom and you can work on it. So, you know, Lightroom is something really vast and it's not the time and place to talk about all these things. I just briefly talk about it, that raw photo has more option for you and you can work on it, and it could be better one than JPEG. We can change the color of anything. We can change the texture. We can change the lights. Everything is on your control. That is why we are going through raw photography.